Howdy, I'm Jace. I have sex addiction and I work with a whole bunch of other people who do too. What is the difference between being triggered and being aroused? That is exactly what we're going to be talking about in today's video because there's a lot of confusion around this, and a lot of people in recovery for this could save themselves a whole lot of trouble if they just understood the distinction. So let's talk about it in today's video. Before we dive into that, I want to make a reminder to subscribe if you haven't yet, and share this content if there's anyone you know who would be helped by it. And don't forget to hit that little bell so that you get alerted when new videos come out, because we're going to be putting out a lot of really great content in the days, weeks, and months to come. Don't forget to share and stick around, because we have a free resource available for you at the end of the video. Let's do it. What's the difference? I hear people say this all the time. I saw an attractive person and I was triggered. I walked by this place and I was triggered. My spouse said this and that and was looking great and I was triggered. Whatever, right? Because a lot of the old school recovery was really problem focused. So it's focused on our problematic behaviors, those things that we coin into our inner circle for addiction. We didn't hear much, and we don't to this day hear much about healthy sexuality, or just the fact that being sexual is normal, natural, healthy, and fine. And so we hear people talk about being triggered. So what does it mean to be triggered? Being triggered means that something has activated that system in your brain, that survival reward system in your brain and body, to engage in behaviors that are going to help you survive. We know they're not, but the brain thinks that because of the wiring, and that they are going to meet an appropriate need. We know now in an inappropriate, ineffectual way, but that's what it means to be triggered, that something has started that process and has us feeling like engaging in our inner circle behaviors, those addiction behaviors. It does not mean something has happened and in my body I feel aroused. It does not mean I just watched my spouse shower and now I'm horny. That's not triggered. You've got to be really clear on what those behaviors are for you, or were for you in active addiction, so that you understand what that entails and what you're abstaining from, and that things outside of that aren't that way. If I'm having a really intimate conversation and I'm really connected and it's like on all the levels, I get aroused because I want to connect. Because at this point, many years later and much healthier, at this point, I'm having a healthy release of chemicals happening when these things that actually meet needs, like love, connection, and acceptance, which are human needs, just like water and food, then I'm getting aroused by that as a healthy response, right? If I am in the midst of foreplay with a partner and my body's responding and I'm aroused, I'm not triggered, caveat. I am aroused. I want to engage sexually with my partner. Now, caveat, there are times where these blend and can be confusing, where we can have a partner that is lovely and amazing, and we're doing recovery together, and we're rocking it, we're doing all the things, and we are aroused and triggered to react out. So like, I'm aroused by this situation that's going on, that's appropriate, that's causing a response in me to want to engage sexually with this person, aroused, and I'm slipping into fantasy about degrading behavior, triggered. So they're going on at the same time. And this does happen. They overlap when we're making our way through recovery, because that wiring is changing, right? And then that becomes your responsibility to shut down the active addiction, inner circle stuff, not engage in that so your brain can heal, so that then you move just into that space, right? Vice versa, where let's say there was a place you always reacted out. Maybe it was a massage parlor or a certain part of town. And when you drive by that, you are triggered to want to react out in that space. Maybe you had a stressful day and you're wanting to numb out, you're wanting to escape. That's reacting out, triggered, and you're feeling aroused in your body. Yes, of course, because you engaged in sexual things, and what fires together wires together, and your body's responding accordingly. So both can happen simultaneously. But I want to make it really clear that being aroused, wanting to engage in your sexual expression in a healthy way, or a way that's in alignment with your integrity, is not being triggered. Having desire is healthy. Wanting to engage sexually with appropriate people is healthy. Watching someone very good looking who's right, like you just, they're like totally your jam, and your body's like, oh, hello, and it like wakes up all of a sudden, healthy. That's not being triggered. Being triggered would be somebody walks by, they're totally your jam, and your body's like, oh, hello, and then you, without their consent, start like creating this whole fantasy sexual situation with them in your head. Triggered, right? I hope you're catching it. If not, if there's still some confusion around this, put it in the chat, or you can always go to my website, www.jacedowney.com, and there's a contact page there, by the way, and you can send in your questions, or we can even set up a time to potentially meet if the work that I do is right for you and you're right for the work I do and all of that stuff. But that's all available on jacedowney.com. Go check that out, and feel free to leave in the comments as well. I try to monitor them. I know they get out of hand sometimes, but I want to make sure this is really clear for people in recovery, because there is a difference between being aroused and being triggered. And if we stick with this idea that everything to do with sex is triggered and everything to do with sex is addiction, you're not going to have a boldly satisfying life. You're not actually ever going to be holistically healthy, right? So it's very important that we understand the difference on these. Stick around. It's a great resource coming up for you right after this. If you haven't yet and you dig this content, please subscribe and share it. That helps me to know to keep making it, and it supports the channel and the work that I do. You can also find me on other social media platforms and all that fun stuff. If you want to follow me there, I welcome you to do so. And until I see you next time, stay curious. Hello again. I am super psyched to get this resource to you for free. I have taken one of my all-time favorite workshops to give in person and condensed it down to a short online little mini course that you can take at your own convenience right now to learn how to go from powerless to empowered, not just with regard to addiction, but your whole life. It is free. It is available now on my website. Just click the link below to get instant access to that at no cost to you. I'll see you over there.